It is the coon level, right? And I understand. Like, to be honest with you, when we're in South Africa, I understand why South Africans want to kick out Nigerians. Like, I understand. Like, I understand South Africans in South Africa wanted to just like chase out other Africans or wanted to attack other Africans. So many times we look at things from just an outside looking in, and we be like, oh, xenophobia or whatever, right? But we don't put ourselves in other people's shoes, and we face our problem emotionally, not intellectually, not strategically, not like just with logic, right? This people just came out of apartheid, like one of the worst, like crazy literally slavery just a few years ago. The majority of them are in deep poverty, right, in South Africa. And about 10% black people have money, but the kind of money they have, like anywhere else in the world, like in Nigeria or Jamaica or anywhere, is crazy money. So every part of Africa is this, right? The majority are going to be poor, but the few that have money, they don't have like regular money. They have like Jay-Z money. Jay-Z is never nothing compared to the kind of money these people have. It's next level money. Like, I went to the club last night, Lamborghini, Ferrari. Like, I saw Rolls Royce I've never seen before. I've never seen this Rolls Royce in my life. It's like two-door. I don't know. It looks like a bird. It's sick. Like, these people have crazy money, but 90% of the population are deep poverty, right? And that's why we party so much. That's why African people, black people, everywhere in the world, they party so much, because partying is a form of escapism. I mean, don't get me wrong. Normally, we are just a fun people. We love to have fun. We love to party. But because of our condition, we run more into things, right? That's why we run more into spirituality. We run more into things that make us just get away from reality. We run more into church. We run more into mosque. We run more into partying. We run more into sex. We run more into alcohol. We don't have a real balance, right? We don't have a good balance because of our reality. So that's why South Africans, every day is party. Like, I went out last night, having a great time. People calling me, hey, you coming out tonight? I'm like, coming out tonight? Like, what? I'm negative. I am staying my ass home. Like, I'm not going nowhere. I'll see you guys on Friday or Saturday. Like, every day they're trying to party. And I understand that, because even the rich are like, they're mentally messed up in their head, because these people, many times, the rich, they kind of programmed, and I can say my friend today, they are programmed not to help their people. And this is not just South Africa. This is Nigeria, Zimbabwe, whatever. They will hire Arab whites. They will work with whites for the help their people. So, okay, going back to why I feel like I understand why South Africans chasing out Nigerians, right? So the South Africans here are frustrated. They're angry. They're poor, right? So they have no way to lash out on the frustration. One, the whites that live here are well protected. They hire like military people to protect their homes. So the whites that live here are well protected. The black people can't reach them to express their anger. And the Nigerians that live here are super rich. They're doing well. Like, they're making money. They go to the clubs and like splurge crazily. They have nice cars. They have all this among South Africans who were just like starving. You know what I mean? Who were barely making ends meet. So imagine you're a South African. You're poor in your country, and you see another black people coming in with all this wealth and living all this good life. You want to like fight them too. You know what I mean? You get angry, like so I understand. So the closest people that they could lash out their anger to are Nigerians. So I understand why they will feel out of field against Nigerians. I understand why they will hate Nigerians. You understand? Like, they're in pain. And many times, a lot of black people, they're in pain. Even in America, they go through a lot of pain and trauma, but they find it difficult. They find it difficult to go against whites, right? Because the whites have all the power. They have all the police. They have all this system like protects them. So the next person they could go fight is the Africans or the Caribbean. So I understand that's the same thing African Americans go through when they say they're not Africans. That's the frustration they go through. When they see Africans coming in, let's say they have good jobs and they get. 1 second. Who's that? No, I don't need housekeeping right now. Oh, okay. Just put it right there. Thank you so much. Appreciate you. Yeah, that's housekeeping. Yeah. So it's the same thing with African Americans, why they feel like they're not Africans, why they're angry with Africans. Like, they can't lash out their anger at the Asians, because the Asians are well protected. They can't lash out their anger at the Europeans, because the Europeans are well protected. So the closest person they can really lash out their anger to are the other black people. So they have to get angry with Africans. Like, Africans are coming here, they see Africans coming here, becoming doctors, lawyers, and not really having their kind of family trauma that they've been through. Like, they didn't really go through the family. Like, the government didn't put crack and cocaine in their communities. Not to say Africans didn't suffer. Africans suffer, but we all suffer differently. You understand? So they didn't go through the crack epidemic. They didn't go through a lot of different things. Africans coming to America didn't go through a lot of different things that African Americans went through. So they want to see Africans coming in, just being doctors and lawyers, and really just having a different mindset. I understand why they hate Africans. I understand why they feel anger towards Caribbeans. I understand why exactly that they feel betrayed, So we have to always look at things. We have to put things in, we have to put ourselves in on each other's shoes, right? We have to put ourselves in each other's shoes. Like, every black person on this planet is, maneuvering through the world through pain and hardship, and they exert that pain on each other. Because that's the easier ways to exert. That's the easiest person to exert your pain on. But they can't easily do it to whites, because they understand what the whites are doing to them. They understand what Arabs and Europeans do to them. But it's hard to fight against a European. So I feel like the other problem that we also face, I want to explain the problems. We talk about solutions in a little bit, but the other problems we also face is the elites, right? The elites here are African elites, black. When I say African, I don't just mean African elites in Africa. I feel like African elites are worldwide, in America, in the Caribbean, right? African elites are educated, right? They go to all these white schools, Harvard, Yale, whatever. They come out as like Europeans. So yesterday I was out with several officials, top, I can't name names, but top officials in countries, and I could see how they live. Last night they spent at least $300,000. I know, like on nothing. I'm like looking at them like, yo, it's amazing. And right outside the door of where they're spending all this money are people that have no jobs. No jobs. People that probably don't even know what they're going to eat tomorrow. You know what I'm saying? And this is not just in South Africa. This is everywhere else in the world, right? Everywhere else where we are. So, and I had this crazy conversation with this guy, is a council of this country. And he said to me something that was so real. He said, if you give a black child $1 million and you give a white child $1 million, the white child automatically has an advantage over the black child, even though they both have $1 million. He said, because even if the black child was raised well, has come from a good family, his environment has become blockade or warfare against them, because he's gonna have all he sees is the fact that he's black is faced with trauma of his environment, meaning like it's gonna have aunties that need money, his community need money, people need this, people need that automatically. And it's always geared towards, buying, splurging, buying a nice car, looking the same kind of way. Those things are marketed towards him as a child already. So he's already has blockade things in front of him that he has to face just for being black. And not talking about his family. Let's just say his family is okay. Now, if his family is going through stuff, now you got to take care of his mother, his father, his sister, his aunties. A white child doesn't need to go through that. Most white children, they've seen their fathers do stock options and do insurance policies. And so their life, their mentality is smoothly. And he said something that was so crazy to me. He said, he guarantees me 99% of African people in the world don't even think about being a billionaire. They don't even think billion level. They don't even think, I want to be a billionaire. They don't think I'm going to be a billionaire. That's too big for them. It doesn't fathom in their minds. A white person is like, they move offensively. They don't move defensively. A black person, even though a child or black child and a white child are both given the same money, a black child has to move defensively. He also has to be protected. He also has to watch his back from his people, from outsiders, from everybody that's coming for him. Now, a friend of mine made a point. He said, if a white child went to the 1 million and went to a car dealership and bought a Lamborghini, cops don't look at him crazy because they think probably his father's rich or whatever. But if a black child who's 19 went to and bought a Lamborghini, everybody looking at this, a scammer, it's a criminal, he's doing drugs. He already has, those things are defensive. So you already people attacking you already, and it's not even the people's fault. It's just the programming. You understand? So we have different layers. We have different layers of issues that we're facing. So being in South Africa opened my eyes a lot. People here are really loving the great culture. The good people, they have good hearts. But with them, they're dealing with pain and experiences of colonialism, of slavery, and they're dealing with it in their own way, right? And like every other group is dealing with it in their own way. So I feel like but I feel like the solution that's why I feel like I don't get angry when I see African American aiding African. I don't get angry when I see a South African aiding Nigerian. I don't take it personally because I understand. I understand that they might not understand, but they just going through experience that's just a trauma of oppression. It's a trauma. So if African American said to me, I'm not African, I'm Indian, or it's just, to me it's crazy and it's a little bit insane, but I understand. I wouldn't deal with the person. I wouldn't be friends with them or whatever, but I understand. Right? I understand the pain they're going through. I understand why they would not want to be African. I understand why they would hate Africans. I understand why they want to be closer to whites. So we have to approach things from a position of understanding instead of a position of just like, just like, I don't know, just being emotionally involved in things, because that's the only way to solve it. So this is my solution, right? I've displayed all kinds of issues. I feel like solution we need as African people needs to come from outside of Africa. Africa is the way it is, and not just Africa. I mean, like Africa, Caribbean, and outside is the way it is because diaspora is not engaged. If you ask a African person today, what do you want? How do you if you ask me something like a genie came out of the bottle, it's like, you know what? Tell me what you want, and I'll solve your problems. I guarantee you 99.9% of Africans will say, oh, just give us money. I guarantee you, because it's us from the diaspora that understand social security systems, wealth policies, socioeconomic systems that could uplift them, right? Retirement systems. They don't teach us that. They don't teach Africans here, or even many people in America don't even know about this, but it's us Africa needs a new group of elites. Like, Africa does not need everybody to wake up. And that's the mistake everybody needs, make. It's like they think everybody needs to wake up. No. People just need food on their table and need to live good. And everything else will follow. You can't tell people if you tell a drug dealer to stop doing drugs and you're not giving them any alternative. So that's why when I was a teacher, When people tell kids don't do drugs, I think it's dumb. You telling people don't do drugs, and these drugs that they're doing is that they're selling is buying them cars, is putting food on the table, is feeding their mother, is feeding their aunties. If there's no socioeconomic system in place, you're just preaching. You're just talking. So if you want to change things, you have to first be able to put food on people's tables. If you can't put food on people's table, you're not doing nothing. That's why I was telling being pro-black is not about preaching stuff like, because you preaching whatever you preaching, and people still got to go to white man for food, for jobs. So if we're not in a position to feed our people, to take care of our people economically, socially, we cannot ever be in a position to solve our problems. Because I'll guarantee you the foundation of all our problems is poverty. When people have food in their belly, that's why they like people to work. Because when you're working all day, 9 to 5, your mind is not able to think strategically. You're always thinking defensively. You think about, oh, I got to pay my bills. I got to pay my house bill. That's why I got to pay my phone bill. When you always got to think about bills, 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 your mind is not free to really see your enemies. You know what I mean? Your mind is not free to solve your problems. So I don't think Africa problems can be solved. Everything else is just a symptom. So me as a clinical manager, I would say this, right? If you have a cold and you're sneezing and you're coughing, sneezing and coughing is not your problem. Sneezing and coughing and wheezing and those are symptoms of your problem. The virus itself is the problem. So when you have African people overly partying, like I love to have fun, but I love to party, right? I love to dance, but I have balance, right? They're not well balanced, right? They don't go to the gym, they don't drink water, they don't have balanced life. So whenever somebody's like overly partying, overly splurging, overly sexing, or engaged in different activities, that might be destructive for their lives. All those things are symptoms of something. Those are not problems per se. So whenever you see problems in African people and they behave in a certain way, they're doing crime, they're doing they're sexualizing each other to extreme fashion. All those things are symptoms of something, and all those things are symptoms of powerlessness. When people are angry every day, when they're depressed, when they just show, and you see this generally in their behavior, in their psychosis, when they exert a certain kind of way, when they just look at you and just want to fight you, all those things are symptoms of a problem. And I feel like the main problem of our people is poverty. That's why I always push for entrepreneurship. Like, we need to have control of your own destiny, because if you're poor and you can't feed yourself, you're powerless. And it's even deeper than that. If we can feed ourselves, then this other Europeans, they need us to be like this. They need us to say things like, working 9 to 5 is not for everybody. They need us to have that mentality. They don't have to. They own everything. They do entrepreneurship. What do you think Chase Bank is? What do you think Sprite, Coke, iPhone, whatever is? All those things are entrepreneurship. They control things. So when I started my vitamin company, I could easily just get somebody to just do other things and I would just make money from the vitamins. But I took my time and made sure I controlled the manufacturing process, the farmers, the plants, because it wasn't just about money. It was about control and power for me. You understand? So I feel like African people need elites who understand the problem that we face and who understand that the network systems. So African people are very good in different parts of the world. Like if you go to America, there are a lot of wealthy African Americans. If you go to Caribbean, there's a lot of wealthy Caribbeans, and they might be conscious, right? But there is no network in place. There is no other groups that have that. White people have networks, and network connects with what power is. We don't have any network of blackness, right? There is no network of pro-blackness in place. And what pro-blackness is right now, I feel, is just a bunch of people preaching with no power and no wealth, because people associate money to not being righteous. People associate like having wealth to being bad or something. That is a very slave mentality. How the hell are you gonna be pro-black and you want to solve your people, but you broke? You can't do nothing when you broke. You can't do anything. You can't get nothing done. That's just being real. Nobody's gonna listen to you when you're broke. If you can't feed people, nobody's gonna listen to you. If you can't put food on people's tables, nobody's gonna listen to you. Nobody care what you need to say. If you're willing to put people money, if you can put money into people's pockets, everybody be your friend. Everybody will love you. Everybody be happy. So I feel like pro-blackness today, people wants to solve problems, but they do it based off emotionalism. They want to solve problems based on like, one love brother, one love sister. That don't do shit. One love don't do nothing. One love don't do anything if you can't put food on people's tables. So I don't believe in terms of just like doing good just because you're a good person. I believe in being rich, being super rich, being a billionaire, creating wealth. And not just that, and creating wealth for everybody else. Creating wealth for everybody else. And one of my friends said this to me yesterday, and he said, we've taken humility to a certain level that is destructive to us. We've taken humility like, be humble. You don't hear other races talk about being humble to themselves. They don't talk like that. Black people will be ready to kind of push each other down real quick. If they see a light coming out of a black person, emerging out of a black child, they will be quick to kind of kill it. Slow down, calm down. You're doing too much, right? Because that's how we're raised. Like, it's in our mind. Our mindset is so messed up. Instead of some of our children are born with just light in them, with power in them that is greater than everybody else. Nobody's meant to be equal with anybody. That is a fallacy. I am not equal with, I don't see myself as equal with just anybody. Like, I feel like I'm better than some people. I am better. I am better. So I'm not equal with nobody, nothing. Like, we are born here. There's no white Kobe or Shaq. White people going through slavery and come out of that wealthy. They made something out of nothing. Right? Black people are the fastest. Black people are one of the most intelligent people. And you're telling the same people to slow down and calm down and be small and be in a cage and not to shine. That's insane. So I feel like we've made humility very toxic against us, one. And we've made this concept of being wealthy as like evil. We are not created on earth to be poor. We're not a poor people. And being wealthy does not make you less righteous. Being poor does not make you righteous. Actually, being poor, you're more likely to be a bad person. When you have money, you're more likely to be good. Because when you have money, you could give, you can help. You could build houses, you could build factories, you can help people. So when you're poor, all you're doing is just being emotional. Oh, I love you, or love you too. You give hugs, you give kisses. That's all you can do. You can't do shit. People are starving, you can't feed them. All you're doing is crying and hugging people. That's it. So we have to really focus on creating wealth, on creating thinking about big time, and not thinking like being rich is a bad thing. Those things is a very slavery mentality. We are naturally rich people. So I feel like the reason why I also travel is like I'm creating this network of wealthy Africans where we can talk business, where we can do business, from South Africa to Kenya to Nigeria to Ghana to Nairobi to in America to Europe, where we having this network in place where we want to change the lives and condition of our people. Right? So I feel like that is what Black people in general are missing, right? So network is power, not money. Money is not power. Having a network of money is power, right? So that's part of the reason why I'm doing this business. I have many other businesses, but I feel like the driving force, at least in this Pan-African company, is my vitamin company, and vitamin is doing really, really well. Like I said, I have it open to everyone, to all my people. If you want to get involved in the vitamin business, I have a distributor program. I want money in the pockets of our people. I want to see our people do well. And this notion of being perfect, I am not a perfect person. I don't I don't think I move as a perfect person. Nor do I care what anybody else thinks, you know what I mean, about me. I love to party. I love beautiful women. I drink once in a while. I eat meat sometimes. What else do I do? That is, not, no, I don't know, but I'm very well balanced in my life. I don't think I do. I overly exert in one thing to the other. I'm very disciplined. So I'm just saying this to tell you that don't live your life based on perfection. Like, see a problem, give back to community, solve the problems around your people. But this notion of just like moving, oh yeah, I do smoke, yeah, I smoke cigars once in a while though. I don't like to do it too much. Once in a while, it's a celebration. So just live your life and just, help your people and focus on entrepreneurship. Like, having a job is fine. Like, I'm not against people having jobs, but I feel like to really solve our problem, we have to be able to feed ourselves and then feed our people. And feed our people. So Empress said, I should teach a course on how to be disciplined on your work ethic. Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I think that's a good idea. I mean, to be honest with you, I was raised like that. So I think it comes instinctively to be disciplined. I wake up every day 5 a.m, or 5 or 6 or 7. Even when I went out last night, I'm already up. I was up by maybe 7. I went to the gym. I meditated. I do take naps. Sleep is important. So I feel like, I think it's a choice. It's an insight choice that you have to make when it comes to discipline. And without discipline, you can't really do anything, And I feel like you could tell a lot by somebody based on how they look, based on how they take care of their body, right? Because if somebody is not taking care of their body physically, in other parts of their lives, probably not too okay either. You know what I mean? So if somebody's body is not well, if somebody's body is not is sloppy or whatever like that, I guarantee you, in many parts of their lives is not well, because it shows that they're not well balanced, they're not well disciplined. And, so I feel like all those things, being disciplined is a choice inside of you. And you have to kind of decide, you know what, I want to have a better life for myself. I want to do better. So you have to do what you just do it. It's a choice, But I do feel like that doesn't mean you take yourself outside of just life. You understand? Like, people become so pro-black or so whatever that they just like leave reality. You know what I mean? I'm like, it's okay. Like, I feel like don't talk about pro-black people, right? You can't be pro-black and run in the woods and be like, I want to live in the woods and run away from society. No, like, the problem is amongst our people. The problem is in the parties. The problem is in the hood. The problem is it's in the villages. The problem is amongst our people. So you have to be able to go amongst them and move amongst them and eat with them and drink with them and talk to them and socialize with them. And I'll say this many times. I would choose being emotional intelligence and social intelligence over intellectual intelligence any day. And I said this before to one of my friends. I said, intellectual intelligence is not the highest form of intelligence, because you can read all the books in the world, but if you cannot negotiate or connect to people or moves among people, invisible, then you can get nothing done. Then all your knowledge will just stay in your head, and that's it. Right? Social intelligence and emotional intelligence allows the intellectual to be fruitful, allows what you have in your brain to come into reality. Because if you can't move amongst coons, then you can't get anything done. You cannot. So if you are pro-black and be like, you know what, I am going to wear a turban today. And I'm going to wear a turban, I'm going to wear a big African chain. And I'm not messing with those people who are, eating meat. And we're still on this side. Like, you're not doing any service to yourself or your community. You're not doing any service to yourself or your community, so you cannot. You have to go where the war is. You have to know. You have to think. You have to be strategic. You have to know how to maneuver. You have to be invisible, right? Like, I'm around amongst white people sometimes. I am friendly. They're not my friends. I smile with them. I say hello. I say good morning, and I keep moving. But I am invisible. I don't deal with them. They don't come to my house to eat. I'm not friends with any of them, but they will never know I ate them. Because I do fucking hate the acid. But they would never know that. Like, when I left my job, being a clinical manager, like, all my coworkers were like, "Oh, Yinka, you leaving? We love you." And one of them was even crying. Like me, I would not pee on them if it was on fire. I would just look at them like, I don't like any of them. But they loved me when I was leaving my job. There was someone who was crying and all this because of social intelligence and emotional intelligence. I know, because you're always going to be 10 steps ahead of your enemies. You're always going to be 10 steps ahead of everybody, right? True story. Like, they would ask me, "Oh, come play games with us. Let's go out for drinks. Come, let's go to taco night." In my head, I'm like, "No, bitch, like, go away." Like, I don't, like, I really want, I would look at them and I'm like, "Yo, I would wish the worst then." But I would just do it with a smile. And I'm like, "Okay, see you guys later. Love you guys." They would never know. So my point is that as African people, we shouldn't just have that mindset of just shutting everybody out, right? Because of, like, whatever. We believe this or believe that. We shouldn't be so rigid. We should always learn to build up our social, and I'm talking to my pro-black people, my people who want to see change in the world. It's a level of emotional intelligence that you have to have, right? So to solve our problem, because sometimes you also have to know how they're thinking. Everything is not African all the time. I learned a lot from white people. I learned from Arabs. I learned from other races. There's some things you can learn from them. There's some things you can learn from Indians. And you take whatever you can learn and bring it to your people. Right? So we also have to have that strategy on the world, like, on how we move in the world and how we can take over the world. So, so basically, being in South Africa, like, I love these people. The point of this post is just kind of like let you guys know that anytime you're dealing with other black people and their trauma and their pain, deal with it from a position of understanding, deal with it from a position of love. Because black people are the most I love people on the planet. They want to love everything. But when it comes to themselves, there is no love. There is no understanding. Like, oh, I heard a South African said they hate Nigerians. I'm like, okay, I understand. Like, it's okay. You know what I'm saying? It's okay. And many times, a lot of them, when they find out I'm Nigerian, some of them love me and some of them don't. But the ones that don't, when I make a joke or I smile and I come to them, because the men sometimes they get very, like, they're very defensive in the beginning. Some of them. But when you come to them with love and like, "Hey, my brother," maybe sometimes I buy them something, like maybe I get something for them. Or I tell them, "Oh, nice shoes." Like one time, like one of them was looking at me angry, and they wear their hats in a very nice way. Like, it's weird, but they roll their hats up, and it was looking at me angry all night. It was just looking at me, just looking angry in his face. I don't know why. I think I'm a handsome guy. Maybe I was like, yo, maybe something, I don't know, maybe I did something to him. And I went up to him, I said, "Yo, I love your hat. Like, I wish I want to get my hat like that." And his face went from anger to just a big smile. And we laughed, and I invited him to the table, and they were just happy. And to this day, he just texts me like, "Hey, brother, what can I do for you? Do you need me to take you somewhere? Like, he was just happy. So we need to just know that a lot of us are going through deep pain, deep anger. And I feel like a black person being envious of another black person is totally understandable. Trust me, like, and we deny a lot of things in us. Like, if a black person sees another person doing good and they're angry and they're envy, and we had asked conversation again yesterday, I'm like, it's hard not to be envious. It's hard because one thing is this, right? Black people can be envious of you because of their experience of where they came from. They come from poverty, and they will not be envious of a white person because they don't have that kind of connection to white people. Subconsciously, they see another black person as their brothers or sisters. Subconsciously. So when you see your family doing good, doing well, and you're poor and you're suffering, it's normal to be envy. Like, we can't deny ourselves of that emotions. There is no human being on this earth that has never been envious. But people deal envious in two ways. The one person might want to hurt you out of envy, and the other person might just want to do better. But they're both emotions that we all feel at one point. But one thing about black people is this, right? They might be critical of you as a black person. They might be envious of you. But when they do embrace you, they embrace you harder than they would a white person. And even coons do that. So they will embrace you even more because subconsciously, I feel they feel closeness because we're both black. They feel the closeness. So you have to understand that when black people hate on other black people, it's not because of them being bad people. It's just because of the conditions that most of us are in. Right? Most of us do not have jobs. Most of us are poor. Most of us have, bad family structure. So when an African American that was raised by single mothers sees continental Africans loving their family, so family oriented, going to school, becoming a doctor, it is normal to be envious. It is normal to say, you know what, like, I hate these people because of look at them. Like, it's a normal human reaction. So we always have to come to, because I feel like it's hard to see somebody that looks like you doing well and you're still not in that position to get up or to do well like them or to think like them. Right? So I just want to urge each other people to really just always come from a position, especially when it comes to your people that, that you think that they might be angry at you or they might think a certain way. Always come from a position of understanding. Always put yourself in other people's shoes. So when I travel to Africa, when I travel to other Caribbean countries or anywhere I go in the world, I don't come there as a Nigerian. I don't come there as anybody but just African. And I come there to just understand, to learn, to kind of take, from everybody. I learn from like I said, I learn from Europeans, I learn from Indians, I learn from every group. And I use my knowledge to create what I can for my people. Right? So we have to really start being we have to intellectualize everything and not be so emotionally, involved. Everything. So, and also the other thing is, like, don't deny yourself of emotions. Like, some people deserve to be hated. Some people deserve to fucking not even be alive. Like, they're evil. Like, some people deserve bad things to them. There's nothing wrong with that. Some people deserve love. Some people, if you feel envy, let yourself feel. Don't stay there. If you feel envious of your friend, fine. If you feel anger, fine. Like, let yourself feel how you want to feel. Just don't stay there, right? And move away from that, right? Be conscious of that. The other thing is that also, like I said, I keep saying this over and over again, also always try to understand how other people feel. Always try to put yourself in other people's shoes, especially when it comes to black people. So life is not always black people are coming out hating each other, black people trying to kill each other, black people, are the most self-hating people on the planet. It's not just about that. It's a deeper issue, right? So I just always, I feel the biggest solution to our problem is just black people really from the diaspora creating a new group of elites. Because all these other rich folks out here are not going to do it. They're not going to do it for you. They don't care. They're not going to do nothing. Like, we're done. Like, they're not doing nothing. Like, They're not. Like I walked to a place yesterday and the whole strip was filled like Ferrari. I never seen so many luxurious cars like that in my life, and cars I've never seen before. And same thing in Nigeria and Ghana and all those places. And right outside the door, people are poor. So I feel like pro-black people, white people, I wish you wealth. I wish you money. I wish you abundance of everything you want in life so that you can go and give and help your people. Right? You need to make money. You need to be wealthy. You need to be rolling in abundance. You don't need to be freaking in the woods, be humble. You don't need that because you're not serving your people being regular. You're not serving your people being mediocre. You're not serving your people being poor. For African people who are conscious, need to be wealthy. African people who are conscious need to be rich because that is the only way we can solve our problems. Because the people that have money right now are coons. The coons have money. The ones that are talking about, oh, I my racism is not, I love whites. I love all these people. All these people that think like that are the ones with money and power. But for you to gain that, you have to know how to maneuver. You can't be emotional about everything. You have to know how to maneuver amongst them. You have to know how to connect with them. You have to learn to be invisible. You can't come off as a threat. You can't be a poor person and be coming out like a freaking tycoon. You have no resources. You have to be invisible until by the time you become visible to them, it's too late. You already have the network, you have the power, you have the wealth. So I feel like black people, especially pro-black people, need to figure out a way to make money, make wealth. And with my vitamins, and like you said, I opened straight door, like vitamins, $1 billion industry. I'm going to be a billionaire. I don't care what nobody has to say. I'm going to be freaking rich. And I'm going to be freaking rich because if I'm rich, my people are rich. And my ancestors are with me. They know this. That's why I'm going to be rich. Nothing can stop my way. If I'm wealthy, Africans are wealthy. Right? If I'm doing well, people are going to be doing well too. Families are going to be eating. People are going to be rich if I'm rich. So that's the mindset that we need to have as a people. If you're rich, if one of you guys are rich, become a billionaire today, and you're conscious and you love black people, do you know how many black people will be so good because you became a billionaire? Do you know how many black people's lives would change because you became wealthy? So many. Instead of you being in the woods and doing chakra shit and putting smoke in the air, right? And living in the cottages, in the jungle somewhere, just taking you some spiritual whatever, you need to change the world. And you cannot change the world being small. You can't change the world escaping reality. You can't change the world, right? Hiding from things, right? Hiding from things, you can't change the world building cottages and eating fruits. You can't change the world that way. You have to change the world head on, facing it, right? You have to face it. You have to change. You have to face monsters, face to face, right? So I always wish all my people who are pro-black wealth, money, abundance, right? Because you need to. You don't need everybody to be awake. You don't need everybody to be woke. Who cares about none of that? If 10 pro-black people became a billionaire today, if 5 pro-black people, never a billionaire, if 5 pro-black people who are like myself became a multi-millionaire today, do you know how many millions of black people's lives would change because of that? I hire about 300 employees in Africa and America, and you know how many food I'm putting on people's table, and I'm not even a billionaire. You get. So imagine if I was a billionaire, how many lives would change because of that. So we need to start shifting our mindset and start thinking consciousness. Pro-blackness needs to be associated with wealth, with powerful socioeconomics, because that's the only way. So I feel like a lot of people really try to run away from problems through spirituality. They try to run away from problems being through goodness. Oh, I gotta be, love, true love. They run into love. They run into like nonsense. Like my heart. Somebody texted me the other day talking about my hearts of peace and love. Like, bro, like nobody needs none of that shit right now. Like, people are hungry. Don't care about no peace of love when people are hungry. People have no food on the table. People like right now, most people who are on this live can't even travel from one country to another freely without looking at their budgets. People are not free. People are in bondage. Anybody that comes to black people about my hearts, about peace and love, is your enemy, to be honest. I won't lie to you. Anybody that comes to you about love is your enemy. No person with a good head on his shoulders, who has good brain, can come to black people in their condition as we are today and talk about we should love whatever. What we should be doing right now is making this money and kicking everybody else out of our community. Kicking out the Asians, kicking out the whites, kicking out everybody and controlling our own destiny. So, I just feel like our mindset just needs to change, with each other and how we perceive the world. Right? So, that's why if you notice, like I don't really go out of my way to really attack anybody, because I understand like a lot of us are just expressing trauma and warfare in our own way. Right? So, and some people, even coons, like I understand why they will be coons. Like we have the most coons in our race because we don't feed ourselves. If somebody's gonna give me a job, if a white person can give me a job, right, and my own community can't do shit for me, why would I want to be pro-black? Think about it. If you have a child today, your child goes to school, and your child cannot come back to your community for a job, do you think that child is going to be for the community? No, because the community won't do and can't give anything to the child. The child has to go outside of the community to be good. He has to wear a nice suit. He has to talk white. He has to eat white. He has to move white to get a good job, to move forward in life. So that's why we have a lot of coons in our community, because we can't do nothing for ourselves. We can't do nothing for them. So when we have our change our mindset, and that's why I push entrepreneurship so hard. I'm like, yo, be free. Like I'm doing it. I've helped people do it. Right? Anybody can do it with the right mindset, with the right effort. So, once we're in a position where we can help each other, where we can feed our children, where our children can come and say, you know what, let me go to Mr. Yinka and get a job in his vitamin factory. Let me go to Mr. Yinka and get a job in his skincare factory. Let me go to, Alafa Organics and get a job in his company. Let me go to different Mr. Steve and get a job, whatever he's doing. That you realize that we have less coons in our community. Now we're gonna have more pro-black people in our community. Then you're gonna have more people who are willing to do better for the community. So coonery is really a symptom of a deeper issue of lack of socioeconomic systems. So if you have good socioeconomic system in place, you're gonna have more Malcolm X's. You're gonna have more Marcus Garveys. You're gonna have more. The community will produce more people who are powerful. So again, long story short, feed ourselves, right? So, I'm gonna be ending this live soon, but I would say this: I would urge everybody to visit South Afrika. I would urge everybody to visit Nigeria, Ghana, every part of Africa, Caribbean, and just like travel where we are and learn and really just see for yourself, how things are, and just go in there not with a very Eurocentric mindset, but just have an open mind. Learn from people, talk to people. The people here are so beautiful, man. Like, I just love it. I love the energy. I love, and I come there with love, always. Always, always. And, even coming in the hotel here, like, they love me. I like love them. So I'm just happy to be here in Africa, man. Like, it's just a beautiful thing. So, yeah, my friend said not just Egypt, right? Yeah. I mean, to be honest with you, I don't really go to, I'm not even knocking that, but I don't go to countries where there's too many Arabs. Because I kind of ate Arabs too. I think I ate, I'm not sure who I ate more. Do I eat white people or Arabs more? I think I ate Arabs more. Definitely ate Arabs. Like they in this thing too. I don't like that whatever cologne they use. I don't know. I just ate them, and I just can't stand their asses. You know what I mean? So to be honest, sometimes I think to myself, do I eat the Chinese, Arabs, or white more? I can't really decide. I know it's not equally. I definitely ate whites, but Arabs are even worse. And Chinese, I could I won't say ate just indifference, but I really ate them a lot. Like they just looking at them, just like damn, and they're really ugly too, and they stink. And their kids, like I can't stand looking at their kids. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I really go to all those Arabic countries. Because I know so many of African people died, for them to occupy that space with their stink ass. Every time they see me, they was like, "Oh, what I think they say in Muslim, so be saying some shit, Abla Wakwab, something like that." I'll be like, "Yo, bro," I just keep walking, like I really hate them. Like you understand? Like I just can't. If you ever hate somebody, you just can't stop looking at them. Like you just looking at them, like you just can't. I just looking at them like makes me angry. Like yo, why do you exist? But yeah. So again, but I love my African people, and coming to a place where I'm really just starting to understand the trauma, understanding why the people feel how they feel, is like it takes you to a different level when you understand, why people feel the way they feel. Like it takes you to a different level. So I'll leave that alone. Yeah, but I'll be doing more live when I'm here. I plan to go to Cape Town with my friends. Maybe this weekend. I've never done a safari before, so I'm going to do a safari. Someone said because they're enslaved Africans. To be honest with you, even if the Arabs didn't enslave Africans, I would still hate them. Like, even if they didn't do anything to Africans, I would still not like them at all. And I would still wish them bad, just because they just look that way. Because I want a world where just only Africans. So it's not even about whether they're enslaved Africans or not. I just feel like I just don't like them or their cultures. So, but I love South Africans. I love South African food. I love South African people. So yeah, my brother, So Trap, I'm going to be in Cape Town. I'll definitely let you guys know. I'm going to do a safari. I've never seen a lion before, so I'm going to try to walk on a lion. You know what I mean? I'm going to be one of those Instagram people walking with lions and cheetahs. And I swear, those things better not look at me like food. Like what? Because lions are huge. They make me nervous. So I'll be working with lions. I'm working with cheetahs and all that. So it should be fun. I'm a little bit nervous because I never really walked around with a lion before.